Welcome, you have reached Imperial Reviews, and today's recap is from Season 3, Episode 1. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So, this series has been, of course, its third season. Either you're a fan or not, you got to be into it. It's a lot going on. It's not one of those series that you could just jump in because you got to know the backstories on how everything was built up to this point. It's a lot of moving parts. It's on MGM Plus Paramount, so if you happen to come across this, take the time to binge the series. And you may or might not like it, but you know it definitely has a fan base. So let's get into it. So of course, this episode starts off. We all know Tabitha. The reason why I said it's a bunch of moving parts because not everybody, but a lot of the key characters in the small town has been doing into a bunch of different things. So like I said, it's a lot of moving parts. Like they're all trying to find their way. They're all trying to cope. They're all trying to find a way to get out of the town. So Tabitha's way was to follow the lighthouse. So she went into a tree, and the tree took her to the lighthouse. She followed the little boy. And the little boy, when she got to the top of the lighthouse, the little boy said this is the only way. It pushed her out the lighthouse. Now, when it pushed her out the lighthouse, she woke up in the hospital. And that's how it ended. So we knew at that moment, we found, well, it's a way to come out of the small town. But how can everybody get out? So when she came to, Victor, that's in the small town, he had gave her this pail of one of his lunch pails from back in the day, you know, like a little carry package. And she had that pail. So she woke up, spoke to the doctors. And after speaking to the doctors, she pretty much snuck out of the hospital and left and started roaming the town. She found like two girls on the street, asked could she see their cell phone. And she called her mom. The mom was hysterical, like, don't get off the phone. She was like, we're all going to get, you know, the family's okay. We're all going to be trying to get back to you. I can't stay on the phone long. So it never really, like, established how long is the time frame the same. Like, how long have they been away from their regular lives? So it never established that. Being though it's season 3, it has been 2-3 years, who knows? But nevertheless, and I say they meaning Tabitha, Jim, Julie, and their family. So it went back to the town. So what the town is experiencing is that Jim, of course, he's like, my wife is gone. I gotta go looking for her, and he's like, I'm pretty much going on my own. Boyd is trying to talk him out of it, like, man, it's unsafe out there. You don't need to be going alone. You don't need to be going out there. Certain things that you gotta follow. You know that. He like, I gotta find my wife. So of course he says his goodbye to his kids. So Kenny is pretty much like, hey, I'm gonna go with you. I'm not gonna let you go out there by yourself. So Kenny's mom, Tien, and his girlfriend, I can't think of her, the nurse, I can't think of what her name is right now, but they both was trying to talk him out of it, like, nah, don't go. But he like, pretty much, I gotta go. Y'all, everything will be fine. So what the town is experiencing, the crops all went bad because of the bad soil or whatever. So you don't, so the people of the town is hungry. In Tien's house, her house is where the food is stored. So the people of the town basically got together and they ambushed her house and took the food because they're hungry. Now, a character, I should know his name, but if you watch this series, you know who I'm talking about. He always been a problem, and he the one sleeps on the bus. So I can't think of his name right now, but nevertheless, he was coming to go get a goat he was gonna kill himself a goat so he could eat. And then Boyd stepped in between because Ethan was like, no, because you know they look at them animals as pets. And so Victor came out and pointed a gun at him. So Boyd stepped in, like told Victor calm down and give him the gun. And he gave Boyd the gun, but he talked to the guy like, hey man, these are pets. Give us a chance to figure out the food situation before you just go and just try to take a goat and everything like that. So eventually he gave up the goat. So that's what the town is experiencing. Meanwhile, Tabitha is roaming this area, this town where she's at. And you would think she would be more like vocal of trying to figure things out, but she wasn't. So she's seen a church. She went to the church. She's talking to the father at the church, basically saying you wouldn't believe where, you know, where I've been. And it's a place where it's ghouls come out at night. It's a bad place, you know. So she ended up leaving. So when she looked in the lunchbox, inside of the lunchbox was a written address. Surprisingly, this address is where she's at. So she goes to the address, and when she gets there, no one's there at first, but a man pulls up. So she instantly is looking at this man, and it's an image of Victor to her. So she said, you're him. And then he blowed her off at first till he seen the lunchbox. And he's like, where did you get that lunchbox from? And she was like, you're him. You're Victor's dad. And so we know like a short backstory that Victor was there with his mom and his sister. So it's going to be a continuation of that situation. So back at the town, you had Jim and Kenny. They were off trying to get to Tabitha, but they were venturing off in new areas of the town. So they seen these little voodoo doll looking sticks, and that could be warring off spirits or whatever. But they had these little well-built cottages that they end up staying in, put the little emblem thing that keeps the ghouls off, and they lit a fire in there. They just was talking about everything and how they need to proceed from here. So after that, what you had back into town that night, the ghouls came out, the night walkers came out, and they opened the barn and let the cattle out, the sheep, the goats, everything. So while Boyd and them was sitting in there, at night, everybody's inside their home, they see the cows walking down the street. So they got to come out at this point. And so by them coming out, now everybody's coming out now. Everybody is vulnerable to the night crawlers. They're trying to get the animals back in. So Tian comes out. And so you like, she's the elderly, not saying the elderly can't help, but she should have been one of the ones to stay back. Nevertheless, she was out there trying to help getting the cattle or whatever. So it was a moment where she could have got in safe, but she stayed there to help Boyd to push the cow in the barn. So what happens is the goat that Ethan seen the guy earlier was Gary Tate. Ethan goes out to try to get the goat. Julie chases after him, and y'all all know the girl that was banned from the town that ended up helping. I think her name. I think that's Sarah. She ended up coming and saving Julie and Ethan, but then they were all hiding in the tree, like behind a tree, bushes and stuff. Now the ghouls, it shows the regular face, but it's now they're showing their face change right in front of you. So yeah, Ethan had opened the door, and then like the grandma ghoul that showed up like the very first season 1, she showed up again, and they was trying to shut the door, but she held the door so they couldn't shut it. So That's why Ethan and Julie had to run out. So after that, the man that was on the bus was trying to. He did warn everybody, burping the horn that the night crawlers was coming. But at that moment, he helped Ethan, Julie, and Sarah onto the bus, closed the bus door, and so they all stayed there. Meanwhile, you have Boyd left. Boyd and TN with the cow. They finally get back to the barn and pretty much thinking that they're safe. Inside the barn was a group of night crawlers. So, of course, before they turned into the night crawlers, they were talking normal. So they know who Boyd is. And they pretty much know Boyd is a strong figure. So they instantly scratched Boyd on his arm again and pretty much told Boyd, we don't want to kill you. You said you can't be broken, so we gonna break you. And so they grabbed Boyd, chained him up to the pole while they had TN. And now you're thinking, oh man, Kenny already lost his dad. Season 1 now, season 3, he loses his mind. This gonna really affect Kenny, and so now you're like, man. So they start right off the rap. One of the night crawlers ripped a piece of TN head off. Piece chunk of the back of her head off, and you like, man, they get ready to rip TN to shreds, and they pretty much ripped TN to shreds. And Boyd had to watch, and while she had to. They ain't just kill her. She had to suffer in pain while they just was ripping apart her body, and Boyd had to watch. So they trying to break Boyd with the pain, and that pretty much ended the episode. So you're like, wow, that's how they started off, like crazy. So nevertheless, I'll be tuning in week to week to recap the From series like I've been doing on this channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.